So, looking at the last thing on Michigan, this was an APAC election. They spent somewhere between 30 and 40 million dollars, might even be as high as 50 in some estimates. And I know a lot of their donors came in for Stephen Slade too. I think it ended up being like 12 to 1 against El Sayed in terms of outside spending. Um, did do we learn anything from that, or is it just that sometimes there's a change election happening and there's literally nothing anyone can do about it? Like, where do you land on that?
No, when you're running against somebody who's saying, forget about the ideology, forget about any of the, his name or any of that other stuff. When you're running against a guy who's running against the establishment and his running on get big money out of politics, get more money in your pockets, I mean, there's the first two phrases out of it, that he's talking about. Um, and then you decide, oh, we're going to support we're going to have big money come in and support the establishment candidate against the guy saying, let's get big money out of politics and get more money in your pockets. Which, by the way, ideologically, I don't know where that one is, but it's a establishment and big money versus somebody, who's gonna, who's railing against that and wants to fight for you, and and the stuff on your kitchen table, even though the establishment candidate is talking about affordability and all that other stuff. I think they actually helped him win. I
Oh
do
yeah.
also, I agree with you about diminishing returns. At some point, and we saw this in 2010, I think, when you and I did Jerry Brown's race in California against Meg Whitman. She had I think, $187 million against our 37 million, not quite 12 to 1, but and it wasn't IE money, it was her just
Something,
emptying her,
yeah.
like emptying 1/100th of her bank account to run for governor. But she built up a 14-point lead on us on Labor Day, and 60 days later, or whatever that was, in 2010, we won by 14 points. So you can have all the money in the world, but people get, and one of the reasons was that people got tired of her. I mean, they kept seeing all those ads and kept and got tired of her argument. And so I think APAC and all these pouring 30 million in, and actually giving more oomph to his argument that we need to get big money out of politics and put more money in your pocket. If you just take the first two of his three, you're running right up against it.
All right, let's get out of Michigan. A few other things. I did want to mention Texas before we get out of here, Joe. A new poll has Talarico up to 47-45 on Ken Paxton. There's, I think, three polls now that show that he's up. The interesting thing is, and this is, again, you look under the hood.
Yeah.
Talarico's lead with independents very closely matches Trump's disapproval rating right now. It's 63-23. And Republicans are starting to come off of Paxton. I mean, Joe, we fall into this every cycle, and we did get a bunch of questions. Is Texas real? Is Texas real? Yeah, but like this one, regardless of whether they flip that seat, and I actually believe that Talarico might be a little bit ahead in real life right now. Like, at what point do Democrats need to either go all in or go elsewhere?
Oh no, they should go all in with Talarico. He's one of our best talented candidates out there. He's up against one of the most corrupt politicians in the country. Up there with Tommy Tuberville and Trump. So no, I think and by the way, he's changed. Paxton was changed against Cornyn in their primary. He was MAGA and Trump against Cornyn establishment. Oh, and that's kind of my point. The difference is, will the establishment Republicans come out for Paxton? Will enough MAGA Republicans do it when MAGA Republicans, a lot of them tend not to vote in midterms. They vote when Donald Trump's on the ballot. So I think And we saw, like in Michigan, like in Alabama, what's happening with Democratic energy and independents, like you said, 63-23 for Talarico over Paxson. Those independents, and we saw this in Virginia, we saw it in New Jersey, we've seen it ever since November of last year, that those independents are turning out at higher propensity along with Democrats, while Republican turnout is diminishing. And that's why you're getting these overperformance numbers, including double haters voting 8-2 for the Democrat in many of these races. So I think this is real. It's uphill for sure because it is Texas, but if it's the gold in them there hills, if Texas were to send a Democrat to the Senate, in terms of what that would mean, I think, in terms of actually starting to build a party that can win there, like we're seeing Doug Jones try to do in Alabama and David Jolly try to do in Florida. I mean, there's these races. These are states, if we can start, some of them will win, some of them might not, but I think it's worth the investment. In fact, I think there ought, frankly, we ought to be, there ought to be a money bomb for candidates from, well, Talarico doesn't need one, but fund the South, fund places like Texas for the party. They should for sure help come in and help Talarico any way they can. But I think do not go to sleep on what's happening. This is a big change election. Independents are with us. It's not a blue wave. It's everybody except MAGA and even soft Republicans. As you said, with Republicans, only 85% of them support Paxson now in
Right.
Texas, folks.
All right, let's end with this one. I found this in the new Marquette poll, which has a generic that mirrors everyone else. But Trump's approval rating with people who use podcasts for political news was at 58, which obviously is like 25 points higher than normal. In this poll, I think they had him at 40 overall. Joe, what is going on with podcasts? I mean, if you're listening to this one, you probably don't rate Trump's approval particularly highly. But is that just shows how crazy the ecosystem has gotten? What are we missing here?
No, they've been in the ecosystem building these things, building their podcast followings for a decade while no one was watching. I mean, it's not just this, it's Breitbart, it's Fox News, it's Sinclair, it's they keep buying up more, and X and Facebook and everything. And yeah, podcasts are no different. They moved, while the Democratic consultants got richer and richer buying more TV ads, and actually missing what 2004 and 2008 were really about, other than they thought it was an ATM machine. The Republicans started developing these networks and these and podcasts and networks. I mean, and I don't mean just social networks, but all of it. While no one, there hasn't been, a Lincoln Project, Midas Touch, Bulwark. I mean, there've been, but these are all not with any I mean, what I mean is there was no big strategy on, on pro-democracy or otherwise, or Democratic Party, to build our own messaging in our own platforms. That's all they've been doing since 2004. And look at the difference. So no, I think this is I think this is an ongoing problem that we need to fix. That's why we talk so much about Says Us and and other networks, and we're working on that. But trying to raising money in our party to do stuff like that's nearly impossible. They've got billionaires who own the platforms, make billions off of it, and then buy more. And on our side, wait, you're going to start a platform and might get rich? Well, that no one wants to. Getting rich is a bad word. So and even if people like me, like
Right.
I don't know what I got to prove that I don't do any. I haven't been doing this for the money. I don't mind making it, but I'm not. That's not why I did it or am doing it. And so, anyway, I just think, yeah, it's the ecosystem. It actually just shows again why. And by the way, the same thing. Of course, we don't go there. I mean, you're starting to see people go on Joe Rogan or something to have a conversation or to disrupt the conversation, but it's not, it's not something we do, and we haven't even created our own. So that's what we're stuck with right now.